You keep finding yourself single every Valentine's Day, every Christmas, but alone doesn't mean lonely. A lot of us tend to look for romantic relationships as the pinnacle, like decenter men, but recenter purpose. The more you are fulfilled in your own life, the more attractive you actually are. Some advice from a fellow sister of how to not just deal with singleness, but how to actually enjoy being single. Okay, so the first thing I would say is that we really need to start with our mindset. We need to work on reframing singleness, right? It's so easy with the examples I've given prior to just think like, this is just a time where I just feel so lonely. I don't got no man. I don't have a partner. What is life? Well, no. Singleness isn't a time to be lonely. Yes, you may feel lonely, but actually it's a time that is actually quite sacred. It's a time like no other. You have so much time, and yes, you hear this a lot, but you do have so much time. You can invest in yourself, you can invest in your hobbies, you can invest in your talents. And so I want to just start by saying that singleness is a sacred time. In 1 Corinthians 7, Paul describes it as a gift. Singleness is a gift. You have time to spend with God, serving God, and be wholeheartedly devoted with no divided attention. Isn't that a beautiful thing? I think that's such an amazing thing to think like, wow, I can serve God with all my heart and I'm not distracted. What a sacred time to invest in me. And so that's the first point, right? It's just reframing our mindset. As a man thinketh, so is he. And if you think that singleness is less than, then you'll have a very, very hard time in this period. Number 2, and we've heard it, decenter men, but actually, let me give you a hot take. It actually is important to a degree to decenter men. Here's why. If you live and breathe, when will this man ask me out? I need this man to find me attractive. I need to get the attention of this man, English. You will actually perpetually be upset. Why? Because the center of your attention is something that you basically have not that much control over. And so my advice to you, and this is something I've learned, is that the more you are fulfilled in your own life and actually focusing away from men, or women, if you're a man watching this, the more attractive you actually are. I know maybe you're thinking like, I don't care about being attractive, but actually no. Hear it from not just me, but many, many people who have had this testimony of, if you have a fulfilling life and you are centered on purpose, you're centered on what is God calling me to do in this life, what am I here for, and you actually start building, and you have like different things going for you, hobbies and interests. Not only are you a happier person when you are found, you are a way more of an asset when you're found. And again, it's not just about being found. This is literally just you being happy in your singleness, right? And so my thing is like, if you have all this time, which you do, you genuinely do, invest it in things that matter. Invest it in yourself. Take this time to really learn you. And so that's my second point. Decenter men, but recenter purpose. And you'll see, you'll be so much more happy. Okay, and number 3 is heal from heartbreak. Okay, so in your singleness, and obviously this applies if you've dated before. If you've never dated before, this may not apply. But actually, we've all gone through different types of heartbreak. It could be coming from a romantic relationship. It can come from church hurt. It can come from friendship heartbreak. These things are very, very real. Family breakdowns, things like that, right? And so you can't necessarily dig and put away these pains and think that maybe a romantic relationship is going to fix you. No, in your singleness, the way to actually be happy is to start doing the work on your emotional health. On your emotional health, because these things will crop up. They will crop up in friendships, they will crop up in romantic relationships. And so obviously you have the usual, therapy, group therapy, counseling, having a mentor, having a coach, again, reading books, reading the Word of God, renewing your mind. All of these things will help you to be happy and whole as a single person. And something that I tell my clients in my membership is that the more whole and happy you are as a single person, the more whole and happy you will be in a relationship. Trust me. Trust me. Do the work from now and you will thank yourself later, and your family will thank you later, and your church family will thank you later, and your relationships will thank you later. Okay? And not to say that you have to be perfect, because absolutely not. No one's perfect. Everyone's on a journey. Everyone has baggage and wounds. But the more you work on this and start actually identifying, okay, why do I react this way? Why am I like perpetually lonely? You will be a much happier single person. Trust me, baby. Because I did the work and I've seen the results, baby. I've seen the results. And it is a process. It's a journey that, you know, you continue to heal over life. But in summary, we've been called to be whole, you know? God did make us in parts, but things happen that fragment us, different life experiences. And so I highly recommend that you work on yourself, for yourself, you know? Number 4, learn the art of enjoying your own company. Hello, somebody. Enjoy your own company. You don't always have to be going on dates with men or women if you're a man. No. Learn the art of even taking yourself on dates. To be happy, again, this goes back to investing in yourself. It's okay to be alone. Alone doesn't mean lonely. Alone, I used to mistake it too. But alone doesn't mean lonely. You may be single, you may feel lonely, but it doesn't mean you're alone. You can have community, you can have other things, and I'll touch on that in a bit. But essentially, romanticize being alone a little bit. Be like, you know what, I like my own company. You know, take yourself on a date, take yourself on holiday, take yourself on a staycation, have a boat ride by yourself, have a car drive by yourself, and just learn to just like your own space. Because it's very easy to, if you don't like your own space, it's very easy to go into a relationship and be very codependent, which is what you don't want, right? You want to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and be happy by yourself. And if you don't want to do it by yourself, fine, just grab a friend, right? But I think it's important to get to a point where you're okay with just you. Where you're okay just knowing that, you know what, I'm a vibe. Period. I'm a vibe. Period. God made me wonderfully and fearfully. And if other people can't recognize that, then that's okay. But I recognize it myself. If you can get to that point where you can say that confidently, like, actually, you know what, I've got to know myself. I know my quirks. I know my idiosyncrasies. I know my, you know, my goods, my bad, my strengths, my weaknesses. And I love me for who I am. And I'm working on becoming a better person. That is a beautiful place to be. Okay? So how to actually enjoy being single. Love your own space. Love your own time. And love time alone. Okay. Number 5 is build community. I know I've touched on this in prior points, but this is a really, really, really big one. I think we often forget that there are multiple types of relationships that fill our cup. A lot of us tend to look for romantic relationships as the pinnacle of company, essentially. But I would say, and what I've learned as someone that has actually had community and is very, very big on community, and I've been for a while, is that there is such a beauty in just close friendships, close community, people that pour into you and you pour into them. And actually, that's, I think, in my singleness, that has been one of the biggest factors that has led me to be very content. It's actually knowing that I have people who love me non-romantically, right? It's like having the family, having the friends, having the people I can go to in times of emergencies, having the people that I can trust, having the people I can open my heart to and be real with and walk with on this journey called life. That is a game changer. And I'll tell you, as someone who has had to be super, super, super intentional about my own relationships, and now being on the other side of actually having great relationships that fill my cup and that I fill their cup too, it's such a beautiful place to be. And I think as a single person, if you're struggling, especially with loneliness, and if you're struggling with like low self-worth, this is something I highly recommend, to be intentional. Join that group at church. Say hi to that random person in your club that you go to. Maybe smile more at the gym. You know, do all these things to be a friend. The Bible talks about it is better to give than to receive, but also, if you want friends, you need to show yourself friendly, right? You need to be friendly. And so if there's something you're struggling with, I have a community online with a lot of single Christians who are marriage-minded, and we're building a community together, and I'd love to see you there. But if not, again, do the tips I've said. Choose people who you think would be good friends and invite them to coffee. Invite them out. You know, step forward, be intentional, and you will see that, oh wow, singleness can actually be great. I don't feel that whole,